Imagine you wake up tomorrow morning and something feels different. Not just in you, but in everyone. The cashier at the coffee shop looks at you with genuine compassion. The guy who cut you off in traffic yesterday waves apologetically. Your boss speaks without ego. Your neighbor shares without expecting anything back. Overnight, every single human being on Earth has become spiritually enlightened. What happens next might not be what you think. The first thing you'd notice is the silence. Not the absence of sound, but the absence of mental noise. 7 billion people suddenly free from the constant chatter of fear, desire, and judgment. That inner voice that tells you you're not good enough? Gone. The anxiety about tomorrow? Dissolved. The resentment about yesterday? Released. For the first time in human history, we'd all be fully present in the now. But here's where it gets interesting. That silence? It would be deafening. Because we've built our entire civilization on that noise. Within hours, the economic system would start to crack. Think about it. How do you sell someone a luxury car when they no longer need status symbols to feel worthy? How do you convince someone to buy products they don't need when they've transcended the illusion of lack? The advertising industry, worth over $500 billion globally, would collapse instantly. Not because people would become anti-consumerist militants, but because the psychological hooks that marketing relies on, like insecurity, comparison, and fear of missing out, would simply stop working. An enlightened person doesn't need the new iPhone to feel complete. They already are complete. The stock market would crash within the first week, not from panic, ironically, but from detachment. Enlightened beings understand the impermanence of all things. Why would anyone choose the stress of day trading when they've realized that inner peace is the only real wealth? Billions of dollars would evaporate as people simply walked away from their screens. The financial titans who built empires on greed and fear would find themselves managing empty kingdoms. And here's the kicker, they wouldn't even care. They'd be enlightened too. But the real shock would hit when we realize that most of our jobs have no purpose in an enlightened world. Think about entire industries that exist solely to exploit human weakness. The gambling industry? Gone. People would see through the illusion immediately. The alcohol and tobacco industries? Why would you poison your body when you've awakened to its sacredness? The pharmaceutical companies that profit from mental health crises? Enlightenment is the ultimate antidepressant. Even the legal system would crumble. What do you do with lawyers when nobody sues each other anymore? How do you justify police forces when crime disappears overnight? An enlightened person can't harm another because they recognize that separation is an illusion. To hurt you is to hurt myself. Now, you might be thinking, this sounds like paradise, but let's go deeper. What happens to love when everyone is enlightened? Not the needy, possessive love we're used to, but unconditional love. When you love everyone equally, does romantic love even exist? Would marriages survive? Probably not in their current form, because marriage as we know it is often based on ownership, security, and fear of abandonment. Enlightened beings don't cling, they don't possess. They love freely and completely, which means the special bond between two people would dissolve into universal compassion. Your soulmate would be everyone and no one. That might sound beautiful philosophically, but emotionally, it would be devastating to our human experience of intimacy. And what about ambition, progress, innovation? These things are driven by dissatisfaction with the present moment, by the hunger to become more, to achieve more, to leave a legacy. But an enlightened being is already whole. They don't need to prove anything. Would we still reach for the stars if we were perfectly content right here on Earth? Would scientists still push boundaries if they no longer fear death or irrelevance? Would artists still create if they no longer needed external validation? Maybe, but the fire that has driven human evolution for millennia, that restless dissatisfaction, would be extinguished. We might gain peace but lose our edge. Politics would become obsolete within months. Democracy, dictatorship, socialism, capitalism, All these systems exist because humans disagree about how resources should be distributed and who deserves power. Enlightened beings don't compete for power. They don't even believe in hierarchy. Leadership would happen organically, based on wisdom rather than election or force. Borders would dissolve, because nationalism requires the illusion of separation. We're all one, right? So why would an enlightened American identify more with someone from Texas than someone from Tanzania? Countries wouldn't go to war, not because of treaties or diplomacy, but because war itself would become unthinkable. The military-industrial complex, trillions of dollars and millions of jobs would vanish overnight. Here's the darkest irony. The institutions we've built to guide people toward enlightenment would also collapse. Churches, temples, mosques, meditation centers, all these places exist to help people seek something they don't have. But when everyone has already arrived, there's no journey left. Religious leaders would find themselves without followers, not because people rejected faith, but because they embodied it. The Pope, the Dalai Lama, every spiritual teacher on earth would wake up to find their job complete and therefore obsolete. The sacred texts that took thousands of years to write, understood completely in a single reading and then no longer needed. Education would transform radically. What do you teach children who already understand the nature of reality? Math and science, sure, but history? It would read like a cautionary tale of unenlightened humanity. Literature? Most of it explores human suffering, conflict, and desire. Shakespeare's tragedies would seem quaint. We'd have to write entirely new curricula for a species that no longer struggles with the fundamental questions of existence. But let's talk about the real elephant in the room: boredom. Enlightenment promises freedom from suffering, but suffering is what makes us feel alive. The contrast between pain and pleasure gives life its texture. If you're always at peace, always content, always in the now, does life become flat, monotonous? Would we miss the drama, the passion, the intensity of being unenlightened? Some spiritual traditions actually warn about this. They say enlightenment isn't bliss in the way we imagine it. It's more like stillness, deep, profound stillness. And for beings who've spent their entire evolutionary history in motion, constantly seeking, constantly striving, that stillness might feel like a kind of death. After a year, maybe two, something strange might happen. The enlightened humanity might start to forget what it was like before. The suffering, the struggles, the beautiful mess of being human would fade into distant memory. And without contrast, would we even recognize our enlightenment as special? Or would it just become the new normal, leaving us nostalgic for a time when we could feel the thrill of victory because we knew defeat? When we could experience the relief of forgiveness because we knew resentment? When love felt precious because it was rare and fragile? Maybe the ultimate truth is this: humanity isn't meant to be fully enlightened all at once. We're here to evolve, to learn, to struggle and grow. The darkness makes us appreciate the light. The suffering teaches us compassion. The illusion of separation lets us experience the joy of connection. If we all woke up enlightened tomorrow, we might discover that we'd lost something essential to the human experience: the journey itself. What do you think? Would you want to wake up in that enlightened world? Or is there something valuable in the messy, unenlightened life we're living right now? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if this got you thinking, hit that subscribe button and like this video. Let's keep exploring these deep questions together.